Hey, listener, thanks for joining me. With March Madness concluding recently, thought this would be a great time to talk college basketball. Just a kind of a quick look at 2025 for everything in Bulldog Nation, where we were, where we are, and what's next. So, I guess now is the part of the broadcast where I go from broadcasting to narrowcasting. So, I already tipped my hand. I'm going to talk Bulldog basketball, but I'm going to need to be more specific. Turns out, Bulldog is not a very unique college mascot name. In fact, it is the least unique. There are 14 schools that claim the Bulldog as their mascot. Quick look here. Yeah, take that, Tigers. They come in at 13, second on the list of the most popular mascots. Okay, well, specifically, so you're talking Bulldog Nation, guy, you've got to be talking Georgia or Mississippi State because those are the two largest schools and actually probably have the right to refer to their fan base as Bulldog Nation. Well, spoiler, no, we're going to talk about a different school.
I don't even like Drake.
You don't like the Drake?
I hate the Drake.
I love the Drake.
How could you not like the Drake?
Who's the Drake?
Who's the Drake?
The Drake is good.
Yes, we're going to talk about Drake. And George, hopefully I can change your mind. I've got a couple of things here. You don't have to be a fan of Drake basketball or even Iowa basketball. I think this story can kind of be engaging to even the average sports fan. It's got a lot of different directions we can take, but here are some highlights. So the first kind of unique thing that has put Drake on the basketball radar as of late is their head coach, or maybe former head coaches. We had a great season this year with Ben McCollum, but it was short-lived. It was one and done as he moved to Iowa City. But a quick fact, let's pull up the last few Drake coaches here. And the thing that they have in common is they are the three most recent hires in the Big Ten. So let's go starting with the first, Nikola Medved. He went to the University of Minnesota, followed by Darren DeVries, 1 year in West Virginia. Now he's at Indiana. And then most recently, Ben McCullough going just a few hours east to what I should be calling actually Drake East now, as 3 coaches and 5 players have made the transition to Iowa City. Certainly for you Hawkeye fans out there are plenty of other media sources that can dive deeper in that. But if you are interested, please leave comments below. I'm happy to expand on people's areas of interest. But yeah, let's drive back down I-80, back to Des Moines, and focus on the Bulldogs. So this 2025 had a great season. It ended with a second round loss in the March Madness tournament. But it really was a fun ride. And even though that last game never got that close, it still was entertaining and really satisfying as a fan. And, candidly, I will be cheering for Iowa next year to see how that progression continues. For those of you not familiar with the Drake story this year, basically 80% of the starting roster was at a D2 school in Missouri last year. They followed their head coach north a couple hours to Des Moines, and they not only showed up and competed in the Missouri Valley, they dominated, winning both the regular season title and the conference tournament championship, Arch Madness, love the pun there, to get the automatic bid. I would hope that they would have gotten an at-large bid had they not won, but that's certainly maybe another conversation for another day. So looking at the Bulldogs, this is the second season in a row where we've lost our head coach. And now with the NIL transfer portal world, the losses don't stop there. So it's painful anytime your team can get eliminated from their season, whether they don't make a postseason tournament or they get that first loss. For 2 consecutive years now, that's been the beginning of the losses for Drake. The loss of the out of the tournament, followed by the loss of the head coach, followed by the loss of the star player. Now, in the first case, it was Darren DeVries, his son, Tucker. That's understandable. He wants to play with dad. Most recently, Bennett Sturts. Now, also understandable, right? He's showing loyalty to a coach that believed in him when he had no Division I offers. Coach McCollum took him in to the D2, brought him to Drake, where he really excelled. And he's a really fun player. Seems like a very genuine, neat person. I hope to follow him more next year and wish Bennett continued success in Iowa City. What were we talking about again? Oh, yeah. So second year in a row, The cupboard is nearly empty. Last year, NF stayed around, not the musician, but Nate Ferguson, the former Bulldog. This year, there are three guys returning to the program: Eli, Andrew, and Joey. So I listened to the press conference yesterday where Brian Harden announced the newest Drake hire, the 31st coach in school history, Eric Henderson, Hendo. So that's fun that he's got a nickname right out of the chute. Just makes sports more fun. Hendo, also from Iowa, Coggin, over on the eastern part of the state, something that he's had in common with the previous two coaches, also both from Iowa. So I think that's part of Drake's appeal and strategy is a homecoming. The overall the press conference was very enjoyable. A couple of the highlights that stood out to me: prior to coaching, he was actually a principal, I think at a high school, but said that position prepared him well for his career in coaching. Another item of note was he mentioned that he's a great teammate, or back in his playing days, and that what really that was code for was you can't score. So if you're not a scorer, you need to be a great teammate. When asked about the program going forward, he said obviously we need to be quick but not hurry, addressing how do mid majors exist in this NIL transfer portal world. I'll do a future episode if there's a demand for it on kind of what the future looks like as far as a roster perspective. He'd hoped and said, by June 1st that it should be made up by then. But it does look like one transfer from his old school, South Dakota State, is coming with him, as well as two of the recruits following their coach. And I think, I'll take just a moment to mention NIL. And obviously, it's life changing for some of these players. But I think the nice thing about the situation that they're in now is kids can follow the coach without having to sit out a year. Before that was one of the obvious flaws to the collegiate program was a coach could leave at any time, but the kids made commitments to the university. And I think I will do more on this later because I really do feel that there's more in this conversation for those that are interested. Like I said, my thought in making this episode was to go beyond college basketball and certainly the specifics of one university, but rather what the system looks like now. Can it still be fun for fans? What do they need to do to keep up fan engagement? And there, certain programs have inherent advantages because of alumni, because of location, because of, well, those are probably the big two. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of ramblings on the Bulldogs, Bulldog Nation. Oh, yeah. So the reason I started the podcast with that was because that was referenced 2 or 3 times in the press conference. At one time, calling Iowa the Bulldog State. Now, even as a Drake fan, that seemed a little bit much, but it was fun. And to think that a mid-major press conference was actually being followed was kind of exciting and fun as well. Again, hey, thanks for listening, Pete, and hope to catch up with you guys soon. Again, I'd say subscribe, but I'm not going to really have a lot of content, so you don't really need to waste your time with that. But do, feel free to make some comments what you liked or what you'd like to hear more of. Take care.